Hi everyone, I wanted to show you how I repainted this Mouscedes doll. I had stripped her face paint off a couple of months back when I broke my first winter doll, because I was going to repaint her as winter because it was a Mouscedes that I used for that. But I've damaged the head too much to actually reuse it, so I've got the bodies in spares, so never mind. So I was looking at this one though, and I really like her with the pink hair and the mouse ears, so I've decided to keep her as a mouse. And I really like the grey skin tone of her face because it reminds me of a pet mouse I had before I was really allergic to fur. Because when I was younger I was only allergic to cats and dogs, but as time went on I became allergic to more stuff. I used to have a little grey mouse called Wren, and he was my longest living mouse, and he was really feisty, and I really liked him. So I decided to keep the grey skin because I really like that, and I think it goes really well with the pink anyway, and it goes well with this little Star Darlings outfit I've put on her, so I decided to keep that. Then what I did first of all was paint the whites of the eyes and the teeth. I like to paint the whites of the eyes first because it gives me a rough idea on the eye size, and then I can work on how big I want the irises to be. I decided for her to make them quite big because I want her to look really cute, and the bigger you do the irises, the cuter the character tends to look. So she's got some quite nice big irises, and don't worry if the eyes are slightly off, I do fix that later on. It takes a bit of tweaking, but I get there in the end. I find that always the same with the eyes. Even if I sketch them on, I will find one will come out slightly different to the other one, but I normally fix it later on, so that's fine. So I did the first layer of the blue on her eyes, and while that was drying, I took my pink pastel, and it's like a deep pink pastel, and used that to shade in the lips. And I put more on the top lip than I do on the bottom lip, because your top lip tends to be a little bit more in shadow just because of the way the light catches your face, unless the light's directly facing your face, obviously. But like from above, you tend to find that the top lip looks a little darker than the bottom one. So I tend to focus a lot of my colour on the top lip, and then just a little light dusting on the bottom. And then I use my pencil just to go into the grooves of the lips, just to make the two lips stand out, because they look like all one big thing. Then I took my lighter blue and added that to the iris of the eyes, so that makes it look like the light's catching the bottom part of the iris. I just think that looks quite nice when you paint eyes like that. And I made it a bit lighter so it stood out a bit more, and I just think that makes the eyes stand out a little bit more and look nicer. I don't tend to worry about doing like all the little lines in the iris or anything at this size. I just do a nice basic shape. So it's like a little sort of moon shape that I do in the eyes, and I think that looks really nice. And then I just tweaked the shape to make sure that they matched as best as I could. So that's why I'm going over it again in blue. Then I took a very light grey wash and went over the eyes with that, over the whites of the eyes, because the whites of your eyes aren't perfectly white, because obviously the eyes are always in shadow because they're in eye sockets in your head. So I just greyed them out a little bit, and then later on what I do is I take a bit of white and just go around where the iris is, just to make it stand out and look a bit more 3D. So as you can see, I'm just doing a little touch around the iris on either side, and that just gives a bit more of a 3D type effect to the eyes, or at least I think it does anyway, because that's like the light catching the bit sticking out further, and then the greys like the corners where the eyes are going into the corners of the sockets. Then I took a black and touched up the nostrils to make them stand out a little bit more, because she's got a very sweet little nose. I didn't want to change that at all, so I just kept it the same as it was. And then decided to paint the end pink to match her hair. Originally I was going to go for a different colour because I think she originally come with a pink nose, but I decided it looks really nice with the hair, so I decided to choose the same colour. And then just took off the smudge I got on the lip. Then I took a slightly darker grey than the skin tone and just filled in that little ridge above the lip. And then I'm just touching up the top lip because I decided to go over it with paint anyway, because I'd mixed quite a nice pink and quite liked it. And then added a touch to the bottom lip as well in a slightly brighter pink. Just makes the lips stand out a little bit more. And then just where the Cupid's bow area is, I just put a little bit of that lighter pink as well. Then I like to shade with my Faber-Castell pencil first before I paint the black on. It just gives me lines to follow so I don't make a huge mess of the eyes. Because I'm always nervous painting the eyes on the dolls. I draw eyes all the time because I draw portraits and stuff, but doing them on such a small doll and so tiny, I don't want to mess them up. Because obviously then you've got to take the paint off, start again. And I was really quite enjoying how she was turning out at this stage. As you can see, I filled in the pupil and then I put a little white dot on. And then just did any little touch-ups. There was like a little bit of the lip I'd chipped off while I was handling the doll. And then I'd used a dark grey paint to go in the grooves around the eyes and use black to line around the eyes. And then here I'm just taking a slightly lighter grey and just going over that a bit just to do touch-ups, and then just where the eyelid would show a bit more in the light, where it would catch the light, I used a bit of that light grey as well. Then the eyebrows, which took me forever to do, which is why I've just cut it short because we'd be here till Christmas. I did those in pastel. I just put the basic shape on and then rubbed them out to get them the shape I wanted. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.